Good morning, afternoon, or evening, wherever you're at, ladies and gents. I am Kura Isagami, your resident Tinkerer and Medarotter, and this is the Medarot News Network, bringing you all the latest developments and happenings with our favorite pet fighting robot series. Now this week, even though it looks like it is going to be a relatively quiet week, aside from the inclusion and addition of the other two detective types as you see here, we do actually have a number of pretty interesting pieces of news that are incoming, that are definitely going to shake up a lot of the game's meta just with one or two of the skills alone that these two bots offer. But as you see here, we will, like I said, be finally seeing both Wonderbell and Sidekicky, the other two detective types, finally make their grand debuts, and it's for this reason I've chosen to name this week's episode Mystery Incorporated. So with that being said, let's go ahead and jump right into what was announced this week and break it down to see what we can expect. Starting, of course, with the gotcha banners for this week. Of course, like I said, we will be seeing DTT01 Wonderbell with the kit of Heal Plant, Float Suppress, which is a brand new skill, Sacrifice, Float Legs, and the Shape Memory leg ability. And to cover Float Suppress ever so briefly after it was explained, basically how it works is upon attacking a leg type, if it is a float leg that is being attacked, it will debuff their overall stats, primarily heat and cool, by 60% at a staggering way to easily cripple most float legs on the board. Excuse me, especially since float legs usually have a very high mastery on terrains at A rank, and with a lot of absurdly broken float legs we've seen in recent, such as Spinag or Artemis, this will definitely be a great way to shake up the meta and make sure that we can cut them down to size and kind of keep everything all balanced. Now, in addition to Wonderbell, we are also seeing at DTT02 Sidekicky with the kit of Time Attack, Hyper Crept, Disturbance, Biped Legs, and the Illusion leg ability. Now, what sets Sidekicky apart and makes him rather interesting is the fact that it is the first male Medarot type that is also to use Disturbance in the game, which primarily was a skill exclusively primarily to the two fairy types, Shiny Star and Twinkle Star, but not only at this, it is also an arm-based skill instead of a head, which will make it much more flexible to make use of this skill on most teams, especially in high-end meta, without having to rely on a limited number of uses if the trap does get removed or expire over time. Now, in addition to these two, we are also seeing a rerun of the leader type DTT0 Mystery Leader with the kit of Fighter Core, Effect Clear, Flash, Wheeled Legs, and the Land Cruiser leg ability, just to kind of round out the trio. Even though Mystery Leader also is not necessarily a dedicated melee or fighter type by himself, he is definitely not above actually getting up close and personal when it needs, especially with the high-speed wheeled leg, and Fighter Core also makes him very handy to make use of, especially on mono melee teams for that extra boost to melee damage that he does include. But these three aren't the only banners that we will be seeing going live this week. We are also seeing, for the first time in about a year and a half to almost 2 years now, a rerun of the Medarot 5 starters, KBT0C Crotogil with a kit of Missile, Rifle, Gatling, Biped Legs, and the Primacy leg ability, but also his counterpart, KWG0C Shinzan, with a kit of Radar Sight, Sword, Pile, Biped Legs, and the Straight leg ability. Now, like I said, it has been quite some time since we've seen both of these two guys make a rerun, or even a debut in a long time since they first were introduced to the game, in favor of other bots that we've had up to this point. So it is really nice to see these two boys again, especially my boy Crotogel. In terms of what they can offer, they really don't stray too far from the norm when it comes to what their from what their respective families do offer with their kits, but with that, they do take it in stride as bots that can be fantastic for auxiliary shooter or melee types to include in any build or any team, shooting, melee, pure set, or mixed set all the same. So for newcomers or rookies or even veterans that are looking for a couple nostalgic bots, these two are two that you can generally never go wrong with, but I wouldn't necessarily prioritize them as bots to go after it as heavily in comparison to, say, Wonderbell or Sidekicky, with two very, very high-end skills that you could make use of very easily and a lot faster. Now, in terms of the fierce battles we have going on this week, a lot of reruns and a lot of older faces that we've had up to this point. First of which is CLA-01 Kanahachi Mark II with a kit of Triple Hold, Multi-Legs, and the Mariner leg ability. Behind him, we have HPP-01 Hippopotensia from Medarot 9 with a kit of Conceal, Double Break Hammer, Wheeled Legs, and the No Guard leg ability. And then last but not least, we have everybody's favorite Anxiety Inducer and Shield Buster. It is BBS-0 Bastroyer with a kit of Triple Destroy, Shooting Variant, Sea Legs, and the Adapter leg ability. Now, for the overall versatility that he can offer, I did honestly have to give MVP of the week to Bastroyer, for the sense that even if it is a very much so gambling attack, and as a 1-star part, rather expensive to raise, Destroy is honestly something that doesn't need to be highly raised to use it at its highest efficiency and viability, given that it instantly will break any shield all the same, no matter what kind of shield it is, and given that none of his parts are heavy, means that you can fit them in just about anywhere without needing to factor in heavy limit or anything else of the like. And of course, I do have to give a close second, honestly, to Kanahachi Mark II, given that even though hold is an ailment that may not be super used as often, the fact that it is a debuff that will still cut heat and cool of the enemy target by 25% does make it something that can be used pretty viably once raised and used effectively. Now you're probably wondering why, back with the gacha banners, why we are getting a rerun of a KBT and a KWG type kind of out of the blue, and that's because we are getting new skins added to the convenience store page, and that are reverse starter colors of Chronojill and Shinzon, as you see here. Now, honestly, I'm not really sure what to think of it, to be honest. Chronojill does look a little odd without his thicker leg pauldrons on his shins, and the color does look somewhat off-putting as well, but that is still nothing to say that it is still very unique all the same, and the fact that it will definitely open up a lot more opportunities for color combinations for folks that do use Chronojill or Shinzon's parts and have color chips installed on them. I will definitely be planning to get Shinzon at the very least just to support my boy, but all the same, if you are planning to go after these or even just want to look at them, they will be available permanently in the convenience store paint shop tab, of course for the standard price of 100 diamonds each. That can be purchased or earned as you make rolls in gacha banners as your pity prize, for lack of a better term. Now we did also get some more information on Story Mode Arc6 that is incoming, and the fact that we will be meeting 2 brand new characters making their debut in this season. First of which on the docket was introduced Ranuncula, who is explained to have a sweet and gentle look to her, but had a very cruel and brutal personality, kind of tapping on that archetype that we do see every here and there in common anime tropes. And then, of course, the voice actress that was chosen for her is Kotomi Aihara. Two of her better-known roles were that in Gundam Divers Re-Arise and Beyblade Burst, as supporting characters to the main cast in both cases. The other character that was introduced is Toga Make, who is explained to have a confident and provocative personality, was also known to be very rough, but aside from all this was also said to be very gentle with women, so at least he is a gentleman in that respect. The voice actor for him will be Yoshiki Nakajima, I do apologize, who is known for his roles primarily in Dr. Stone, Stone Wars, and the Konosuba movie, both also as supporting roles to the main cast in both respects. So definitely looking forward to seeing more information and the official debut of these 2 characters in the story. And once more information does come out, you can bet on the fact that I will for sure report on it and make more updates as they are seen. Now, aside from all this, on the community front, we are still continually looking for translators for the Medarot 3 and the Medarot Reloaded manga projects. As stated in the panel I held a couple weeks back with a Variant and Wyzit on the Medarot 3 translation progress, coding has been pretty much handled up to this point, which is very good to hear, and lots of good progress has been made. But we are continually in need of translators primarily, as there are a lot of lines of code that need to be cleaned. A lot of chapters from the manga that need to be translated as well, so we can enjoy that. So if you are versed in any coding, cleaning, or Japanese and have some time on your hands, we are more than appreciative of any efforts that you'd be willing to provide, so we can see these projects to completion and work on others. A couple community requests we have been getting a lot of is primarily towards Medarot 4, Medarot 5, or even Navi in particular. There have been some very popular requests that we'd love to see done, and I too would love to see them done, but we just lack the manpower to do it. So again, if you have some time on your hands with some skills that you'd be willing to contribute towards, we would love any efforts to that. And if you do have questions, you're more than welcome to reach out to me or join our community, and we can get you up to speed on what has been finished and what still needs done up to this point. Now, on the weekly art highlight, this one was a rather interesting one to find out. This piece in particular by Pillar Buster on Twitter was said to celebrate Medarot's 25th anniversary. Now, at first we were a little confused by this because the anniversary itself isn't until November, and we were partly correct in that. However, the November anniversary was for the launch of the games itself, in this case Medarot 1, back on November 28th of 1997. However, 1997 also did not mark the debut of Medarot as a franchise as a whole, given that June was the year that it was officially started beginning publishing in magazines at the time, and thus began its history, which later sparked to the very first game launch, Medarot 1, in November of the same year. In addition to this, we do also have this wonderful piece of our resident Medarot VTuber Shushu Pop by Twitter user @robo au. I do hope I do pronounce that correctly. It is kind of a rather interesting combination of a Twitter handle, but a fantastic piece of art all the same from you, as well as from Pillar Buster as stated. If you'd like to see more Medarot art in your feed, definitely do give both of these two people a follow. You will definitely not be sorry to see more Medarot art added in your daily Twitter feeds. But aside from all this, I believe that covers just about everything for this week's episode. Like I said, not a whole lot that was mentioned or gone into detail this week, aside from really just trying to push on Wonderbell and Sidekicky in particular, with the skills that they are bringing to the table for their respective builds. But aside from all this, thank you again for stopping by. If you'd like to know more, you can follow us below on Facebook at the Medarot News Network page, or the Metabots Forever communities there. You can also reach out and join us on Discord in the link provided and in the comments below. If you'd like to keep an up-close and personal ear on the action closest to the ground, more often than not, this will be the first place anything new will be posted or announced before it does reach elsewhere. This also is where I post all of my updates, my weekly episodes, and so on there first before they are posted to any other pages. So this is the first place you will hear any updates or news as it does come out and is talked about. You can also reach out to me personally on Twitter at IsagamiKura, so if you have any questions, feedback, comment, or suggestions, my DMs are always open to anything that you might be willing to provide, so don't be a stranger, feel free to reach out, even if just for a friendly conversation. And do also give these fine friends of mine a follow as well. Callie Dory with a handle of Eru4 on Twitter for her fantastic streams and her wonderful content, who also runs the Metabots OOC page and the daily Metabee pages also on Twitter. So if you'd like to see more Metabots in your feed, definitely give all three of those pages a follow. You will definitely not be sorry for that. And then, of course, I do also want to put a spotlight on my friend Ayame, the vampire VTuber as well, who fairly recently just crested over 100 followers on Twitter. So Ayame, if you are watching this, congratulations for such a momentous milestone in your debut as a VTuber. And if you folks are looking for a wholesome vampire to watch and enjoy watching streams of, look no further than Ayame and her Minecraft streams all the same. But aside from this, I do believe that covers everything like I said, so thanks again for stopping by, folks. It's always happy to have you in for a visit. Until next time, this is your host, Kura Isagami of the Medarot News Network, signing out.